When did the class clown go too far? Kept making yo mama jokes to my friend who just lost his mom to cancer. My friend snapped and broke his nose. Took his arse out to fart on someone. Bent over, did the fart, turned into a shart, and turd rolled down his leg. Ew! Ugh, gross! Slightly off topic, but our class clown choked on candy. We thought it was another one of his jokes. The whole class laughed at him, even the teacher. Then his face started to go red. Eyes got bloodshot, and he started slamming the table violently. Luckily, somebody gave him the Heimlich maneuver and saved his life. Dude nearly died while everyone sat laughing at him. A classmate thought it would be funny to light somebody's mullet on fire in the middle of class. Oh my god. I mean, it was a mullet, so like... No, I'm kidding. It's never okay to do that. Not my class, but he grabbed a laser pointer and pointed it at a female teacher's boobs and then said, "Wow, they're so big." The teacher was quite young and ended up crying and was out of lessons for about a week. In my school district, it was tradition for the exiting seniors to pull a prank. One year, a few of the class clowns decided it would be funny to cover all the tile floors with cooking oil, cover the handrails of stairs with Crisco, and put large puddles of oil at the top of each stairwell. A girl already on crutches broke her jaw. We had to be evacuated to the bleachers outside. It was super not cool. Public school, small town, graduating class only had 54 students in it. Kid smeared his poo all over the bathroom. Walls, floors, sinks, everywhere. The principal had no way of knowing who it was, so the solution, they took the bathroom doors off the hinges. Staples in the substitute's coffee. I went to school with some real monsters. What are the cons of not having kids? I work in TV and the hours are notoriously brutal, especially when you're starting out. For years, a friend of mine kept a pic of his wife and 2 kids on his desk, so when producers would roll in with notes at 6 p.m. to get him to work late, he would just point at the pic. Plays, recitals, the flu, no babysitter, whatever. Found out years later it was photoshopped. He's married now with kids. Well, I'm in my 60s and I don't have kids. The downside is now I don't have any family. I'm the last one left. Thank you, Reddit user well-hung hippie. Alright, dude. No one to avenge your death. Lack of cheap, unreliable labor. It can make you feel isolated from your peers, whether childless by choice or circumstance. I'm having medical emergencies in my 40s and still need my 70-year-old parents to bring and take me to appointments. You have fewer excuses to use to call off work. Holidays are kind of depressing. I went to watch my nephew open gifts on Christmas morning, then spent the rest of the day changing exhaust manifold gaskets, oil change, and a tune-up on my truck, just because I had nothing going on. I think it's best to frame having kids as going on an epic, life-changing adventure. There will be glory and wonder, and there will be horrors. The highs will take you higher than you ever thought possible, but man, are those lows low. So con, you'll miss out on this epic adventure. But there are other paths to other adventures, ones with their own excitement and peril, or maybe you're more of the stay in the Shire type, that's fine too. I have no heirs for my fortune. I have to count on a gold digger wanting to inherit. When I want to impress my wife by doing the dishes, I can't just secretly get the kids to do it for me. You always get the "so when are you having kids" question, and it's always followed by, "oh, that'll change." Not for me. As soon as I'm done having this surgery I have planned, and I'm all recovered from that, next step, completely separate step, is getting a vasectomy. Hell no am I having kids. I'm not having kids in any way, shape, or form. It's not happening. The only kid I'm gonna have is my dog. My dog, my beautiful baby boy Jojo. A lot tougher finding spare kidneys when one goes bad. What is a disgusting smell that you like? The smell when you first have to kick the heat on in the winter. Burning dust. It smells toasty warm. More like burning skin flakes. Mechanic shop smell. I love it. Mechanic shop, tire warehouse, and auto parts stores. Yeah, I agree. I know part of it's the nostalgia, but I loved it even when I worked in parts and was new to the business. I work at a facility that houses animals and smells very strongly of those animals. Most people gripe about it, but I don't know, man, I love it. There's always something comforting about it, but I've been working with animals for nearly 20 years now, so maybe it's just a familiarity thing. Petrol, for sure. 2-stroke just hits different. This is going to be weird AF, but my underarms, it has a slight sweet but sweaty smell. I don't know. 99.9% hand sanitizer. The kind you get in elementary school hits harder than any alcohol I've ever drank. The smell of chlorine at a swimming pool is pretty swell. A musty basement, smelling slightly damp with a hint of mold. Perfection. What celebrity barely escaped being canceled by the skin of their teeth, and why do you think they got away with it? As it always comes up in these threads, I can't believe Chris Brown still has a career and that people will work with him. Would say the dude from the Mamas and papas who had a 10-year relationship with his daughter, but I think he died before that one came out. How Jared Leto has not been canceled yet is a mystery to me. Frickin' Ezra Miller. No idea how, after the menace they became for a couple of months. Had a very questionable friendship with an underage Native American girl. Fought people across Hawaii. Even tried to start a cult, but the movie studio stuck by them. Drake. There is literal video of him hitting on and groping a minor on stage. He's a groomer. I stopped listening to him when Millie Bobby Brown said they were friends and he would text her. Like, WTF? Caitlyn Jenner literally killed a person. And that was swept under the rug pretty swiftly. I guess being in a high-profile family with money is enough to get people to forget about it. Surprised nobody has mentioned Travis Scott after Astroworld. Dude stood on stage singing at dead bodies in the crowd. Adam Levine after those cringy texts came out where he hit on another woman while his model wife was pregnant. That body of yours is absurd. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Shut up, Adam Levine, you piss baby. What's a simple word that people keep mispronouncing? Across instead of across. Why? This thread got me whispering words. Espresso instead of espresso. My wife and her entire family all say especially. I hate it. Supposedly, commonly said as supposedly. Taking things for granted. People say granite. It irks me when people say pitcher instead of picture. Etc. It's etc. Not etc. or etc. Edit. Yes, I know it has a space. And it's abbreviated ETC, not ECT. I use the abbreviation to say end of thinking capacity. Frustrated. There is an R in there, people. It's so frustrating. Specific/Pacific seems to be spreading. The Pacific Ocean. Pronunciation. This one irks me a bit when people pronounce pronunciation wrong. I've heard so many people say voluptuous instead of voluptuous that for a moment I thought I had it wrong, but no. Voluptuous is not a word, folks. You're adding an entirely unnecessary M. Voluptuous is for someone extremely voluptuous. The M adds 2 extra curves. Hey, I see what you did there. Paschetti instead of spaghetti. If a toddler says it, it's cute. If an adult says it, it induces rage in me. What are you better at than 99% of people? Picking the cart with the squeaky wheel at the grocery store. Regrettably, I am the grand master of this. Unicycling, because I can confidently say less than 1% of people have even bothered to try. It's less about bothering to try and more about not having the opportunity. I'm sure a lot of people would say yes to giving your unicycle a test ride. I saw a man in the streets on a unicycle on my way to my day job this morning. This is really coincidental, but like it was just straight up a unicycle. It was bright yellow. Picking stuff with my foot. Never bend over, never give up. People tell me it's quite impressive. I also am a grandmaster at this. Being able to pick stuff up with my feet is a special talent of mine. Sending texts people don't feel the need to respond to. What is the smallest food container that will fit these leftovers? It's a very specific skill, but I feel powerful every time I use it. Troubleshooting. I never thought this was a real standalone skill until I got into the workforce, and yeesh. The number of people who can't approach technical problems in a logical, systematic fashion is absolutely astounding. I have a weird gift of knowing what temperature it is without looking. My boobs can tell when it's raining. It's like I have ESPN or something. Knowing what that actor was from. Obscure and irrelevant pop culture trivia is my superpower too. I'm an avocado savant. Somehow the avocados I select don't go bad, unless you egregiously ignore them. I've had many people over the years scoff when I say this until they open up one of my avocados expecting the usual brown spots, only to find beautiful, fresh avocado. You really are an avocado savant. Sadly, I do not like avocado. Why not? It's so good. Self-doubt. Edit. Sorry, that's probably wrong. Also, apologizing for everything. I've mastered the skill of procrastination. I'll tell you more about it eventually. Washing the dishes, loading the dishwasher, and putting away the dishes where they belong. And I love doing it. Clutches pearls. It's a monster! Distinguishing between color shades. What screams, I am a boring person? People who don't have their own opinion and just repeat what the majority of people say. Putting, please don't be boring in their bio. People who lack curiosity are often not as interesting individuals tend to be, genuinely interested in various things. It's someone who robs you of your alone without offering you companionship, according to Oscar Wilde. Once you get to know someone, the majority of individuals turn out to be very intriguing. However, practically everyone has a polite wall that you must first go through. That's me. I'm a boring person. Boring gang, represent. Finding it very difficult to believe interesting life stories that other people have to tell. Well, this thread did not do anything good for my self-esteem. What is causing your friend to remain single? That you don't have the heart to tell them. He keeps hanging on to the past and spending all of his time hanging out with ex-girlfriends who are unavailable or women who like him but he doesn't romantically like. I always wondered why she couldn't get a date because she is gorgeous until I saw her flirting with someone. First night they met, flirted, swapped numbers, then immediately clingy. Talking in baby voice to him and making baby noises. He made a completely inoffensive comment which she found offensive and threatened to slap him. Not shocking at all when he never called. I can smell them. Everyone can smell them. He really is not as nice of a person as he thinks he is. Brother-in-law, not friend, but he makes the same jokes about poops and farts all the time, like constantly. Yes, some women like potty humor, but they usually also want it to be funny. He's also very negative, finds insults or something wrong with any situation. He lies to himself about almost everything. He lives in a fantasy land. He thinks he's in the gym 5 days a week, eats great, climbs mountains, goes camping, makes loads of money, but in reality, pub 5 days a week, overeats like shite, went on one hike in January and can't hold a job and lives paycheck to paycheck. If you were to confront him with this reality, it wouldn't even get through to him. The type of guy she claims she likes isn't what she's actually attracted to. She keeps saying how much she loves shy, introverted, sensitive guys, but when she finds one and dates him, suddenly, he's not outgoing enough, doesn't speak his mind enough, and is too shy. I kind of think she has the I can fix him syndrome and doesn't really acknowledge it. Like, she's attracted to the typical shy guy, but thinks once they're in a relationship, they'll suddenly be more open and turn into the guy she actually wants. That's not how it works. She is so lovely, so kind, so generous, and so beautiful, but her crippling lack of self-esteem is so huge it's visible from space. And her anxiety, and I'm 99% sure her undiagnosed ADHD, means that when she's at all nervous, she talks at 100 miles an hour in several directions at once. It's like being handed 8 happy Labrador puppies to try and hold in your arms. I so badly want her to be happy and feel fulfilled, but even I find it tiring sometimes. They talk way too much. Even during texting, my friend is sending paragraphs to women he just met. I really need to hear what my friends would say about me. I had a friend who finally did just ask. He came up to the girls in our group and just let us have an open conversation. I'm sure it was awkward and uncomfortable for him, but we gently laid out some issues. He cut his hair, got some new clothes, and the big one, started therapy. A couple years later, guess who's got a wife and a wonderful child? Desperation. From laughing way too hard at mediocre jokes to bringing up marriage on the first date, she reeks of it. We've all tried talking to her about it to no avail. The sad thing is that if she was just her regular, funny, smart, and relaxed self, then men would be falling over themselves trying to get her number. What outdated or obsolete tech are you still using and are perfectly happy with? Printers that could print without a subscription. Physical buttons. Not everything needs to be touchscreen, for goodness sake. I still take a notepad and pen into every meeting. I own my music. I have hundreds of CDs, so I still use my CD player and MP3 player. And to be honest, I still have about 150 vinyl albums I play on occasion. 25-year-old Honda Accord with a manual transmission. I still love playing the Nintendo GameCube. Never gonna stop playing Mario Party 7, Smash Bros. Melee, and Animal Crossing. I ordered a charger for my old DS Lite last week, and damn did I miss it. The DS Age of Empires, old Pokemon games, and I'm having a blast. My Sega Genesis and PlayStation 2 Slim are still plugging along fine and still are fun. A calculator, you know, with buttons and a screen. I am still transferring MP3s I downloaded from the internet to my phone. I tried Spotify Premium for a year, was not satisfied, and many old songs I like are not available. But by manually downloading FLAC MP3 or so, I can get many unusual things like my country's flag carrier playlist, remastered bass boosted, remixes, covers, etc. I have an off-grid cabin in the woods. I have a small PC responsible for recording and saving images from security cameras, and also serves as a data logger for my weather sensors. It all runs on Windows XP and it's rock solid. iPod Classic, 160 gigabytes. Physical media, in general, DVDs, CDs, video games, books, etc. Oh my god, I said etc. It's etc. Holy crap. Yeah, it adds to clutter, but most digital services have it in their terms of service that they can remove content, even paid for, at any time with no refund to you. You're basically paying a float rate to rent it until they can no longer rent it. Don't try to remove the physical stuff. It's a felony in most states, and you can have my Buckaroo Bonsai Blu-ray when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers. My film cameras. 70s turntable. I have a couple old Macs from nearly 20 years ago that I use from time to time to either play old games or do some writing on them. Plus, I love the looks of the old hardware and software. It just reminds me of a simpler time of computing I once grew up in. What's a hygiene tip or trick that everyone should know? If you find putting clothes through the laundry doesn't remove all armpit smells, give the armpit area a quick antibacterial soap pre-wash before each load. Job done. Edit. By hand using hand soap, nothing special. Clean your belly button. Some of us have that weird belly button to bladder connection. I do my best. Wash behind your ears and in your belly button. Most people don't know this. You can brush your teeth in the morning and at night. I was expecting actual tips and tricks, and all the top comments are just basic stuff. Someone actually just posted, take a shower, lol. That's not a tip, it's a life necessity. Flossing your teeth can save you thousands of dollars and make dental cleanings a painless breeze. Perfume is not deodorant. Drink plenty of water. It will help improve your skin, dental, and overall health. Smell your clothes before wearing them. A musty smelling shirt is noticeable by others around you. If you can't face a shower, hand sanitize your armpits, let dry, and apply deodorant. The alcohol in the hand sanitizer will kill the bad bacteria responsible for the smell, rather than just the deodorant masking it. Cleaning under your nails is a must for everyone, and nail brushes are cheap and easy to use. Wash your damn feet in the shower. Letting the water run over them is not enough. What's a common phrase or word that someone can use that instantly makes you judge them? Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? I have no filter. This. Same thing with the people who brag about being brutally honest. I tell it like it is. Or similarly, I have no filter. Proceeds to be an asshole, but gets hurt when people are straight with them. Calling yourself an alpha male. We are a great company that cares for our employees. Or, we really care about you. But 11 out of 10 times they start to screw you over under the guise of a nice conversation. I die a little anytime a manager uses those phrases. It's just a joke. Usually when a person says this joke is something really insensitive. The phrase, I'm an empath. Trust me, how to make me go from zero to suspicious as frick in 2 words or less. You're either with us or you're against us. Well, I was contentedly neither, not giving the slightest crap about you either way. But now that you've irritated me with your petty tribal BS, I'm gonna have to put myself solidly in the against you camp. People who call other people snowflake are typically the same people who lose their minds over the silliest things, using clinical psychology terms either completely incorrectly or as substitutes for normal individual differences. I get so judgy. My eye twitches. He's so antisocial. I got PTSD from that show. I'm OCD. I like my space tidy. My ex is a narcissist because proceeds to talk about how they weren't just good together. I don't mean any offense, but and proceeds to be offensive. Blaming actions/personalities on star signs. What is some rich crap you do even though you are not rich? Food. I buy what I want and I try new stuff. I like cooking. I forget to cancel my free trial. I leave the fridge door open when getting the butter out, even though my dad said it would cost billions and send us onto the streets. My thermostat stays at the temperature setting of what is most comfortable to me, and nothing will change that. Buy the good toilet paper. I put my bills on auto pay. Crazy, I know. I have a maid that comes weekly. I found that my sanity is worth the cost. Some days I have 2 sandwiches at lunch. I smile as I watch all my fellow proletariat eating their single sandwich. Paying for car cleaning. I sometimes buy name brand cheese instead of the store brand. I own a house. Oh damn, rich people stuff. I buy the gel comfort pens. Makes me feel like I'm a higher class when writing at work. Smooth, crisp, consistent ink. No margarine in my house. Butter only and lots of it. My arteries think I'm rich. I only buy real maple syrup. It's several orders of magnitude better than all the other high fructose corn syrup, and I use it in my baked beans and various glazes. I use the frick out of paper towels. I shop at Target. I've adopted a black cat. That might not sound very exotic rich people stuff, but every time I look at him, I can't help to think, I've got this incredibly beautiful, graceful mini jaguar in my house, solely because I love its companionship and looking at it. Feel like a king with him. Those who actually had their jobs replaced by AI, what was the job? What replaced it? What do you do now? Video editor for several smaller YouTubers. My job was basically to turn videos into shorts and add those captions with emojis. What replaced it? Tools like VSub.io with speech detection and auto captioning. What do I do now? Still video editing, but focused more on long form video. Had to stop freelancing and get a job. That's life, I guess. My entire editing team was replaced by a robot that was supposed to write and edit text like a human can. They didn't test the robot first. It was terrible and their entire project failed. No tears were shed. Worked at Amazon for a few years, did inventory basically all night. Then they installed cameras, scanners, AI, etc. Still need a human, but yep, lots of us were no longer needed. SBC, simple bin count. Just count everything in the bin, easy, is redundant. Software dev here. New exec came in and replaced me, only dev, with no code software. From what I hear from my friends still there, they shot themselves in the foot. Haha, not me, but some warehouses have some self-driving high-reach forklifts. Someone said that their warehouse has only 2 human high-reach drivers and 9 self-driving high-reaches. Crazy stuff. I used to be a projectionist. Now a movie is on a hard drive and it's programmed to run remotely. My wife was a copywriter / wrote blogs for internet optimization online, primarily for legal and medical fields. AI took over and her company either fired everyone or severely reduced the amount of pay that was offered per job. Wife is still unemployed, but we heard just last week that it sounds like the company is now going under. I was a medical audio typist for about 10 years. A new speech-to-text software came to wide use and me and about 180 out of 240 of my colleagues were laid off. I've now been unemployed for around 2.5 years. Not me, but in tennis, all the line judges were replaced with AI. In tennis, it's been super helpful so you don't have 65-plus-year-olds trying to make a line call on a 120-mile-per-hour serve. Transcription writers have been replaced a lot by voice detection software. Did it once years ago and was so completely soul-sucking. No one deserved to have to do that as a career. Is that why subtitles have gotten noticeably worse? I'm on the precipice of having AI take my job. I work in a subrogation role, which is primarily writing reports for an independent arbitrator to read and decide liability and damages for the insurance industry. My company announced during our last quarterly meeting that they have their own GPT bot that's about to launch. Won't be long now. We're about to go the way of the dodo. I don't know if it's already happening, but call centers will someday be a thing of the past, and honestly, the world will probably be a happier place because it's one of the most soul-sucking jobs a person can do. What makes being single worth it? When you place something, it remains there even after 8 weeks. This is huge. I magically don't lose stuff anymore. No in-law visits or splitting up holidays. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. Self-discovery and independence. Worth it? Isn't single being the default option? I feel much better after reading the answers on this thread. Silence, disposable income, and opportunity to be a mess. The peace. I have fallen in love with loneliness. I'm gonna suggest that what you really are in love with is solitude. Some people love solitude and some people need it. Living single is a cohort that is on the rise worldwide. A whole lot of loners out there. Don't want to do something? Don't do it. Don't want to go somewhere? Don't go. Want to stop watching halfway through the movie? Go ahead. Feel like being alone? Well, this is convenient. Honestly, as long as you're not depressed or doing stupid things sexually, then singledom is the life. It's midnight. Me, I can't sleep. I want to make muffins. Brain. There is literally no one here to stop you or be annoyed by the fact that you're up at 12 a.m. making muffins. Me. It's midnight muffin making time, motherfuckers! Hear that? That's the sound of me not getting blamed for stuff I had nothing to do with. What is something that you're for sure the U.S. government is hiding from us? How many members of Congress are taking medications that would early retire anyone in the private sector? Used to believe in this stuff until I started working in the government. I'm now convinced that most conspiracy theories can be explained by pure incompetence. I'm convinced that our ICBM protection system is far more accurate than the Pentagon is willing to admit. Gigantic warehouses crammed with enormous archives about unbelievable incompetence. Cheese, big blocks of cheddar cheese. They used to give them away decades ago, but you never hear of them now. The location of nuclear submarines. They're in the ocean. That's what they want you to think. The impact wealthy individuals with personal interests have in politics, inside and abroad. Same things they've always hidden until the documents are declassified decades later. Crimes against humanity. Jesus Christ. Clearly no one commenting here has ever known anyone working in the federal government. The biggest secret they're keeping from you is that every government agency spends money like a coke addict in the month of September so that their budgets won't get slashed in the next fiscal year. How many politicians have secret offshore bank accounts full of embezzled taxpayer dollars? All that potential they said I had in grade school. Carcinogenic chemicals associated with mass food production. What's something that's mundane in your country but foreigners think is incredible? Oh man, one of the absolute cutest things I've ever seen was a work friend of mine at the time who was visiting from Australia. He came into work that day totally beaming because he had seen a squirrel on his way there. I was very confused until he told me they don't have squirrels in Australia. He went on about how cute they were, and I told him I had a surprise for him when we went to lunch. I walked a few blocks up the road to a local college campus where the squirrels are so fearless they will literally come and take food out of your hands. They'll even sit on your shoulders so long as you sit still and feed them. This man was absolutely geeked when I called over a group of squirrels with some crackers for my lunch. I thought his head was going to explode when I told him to stand still and sat a cracker on his shoulder, which a squirrel happily climbed up him to get. He legit froze and started tearing up. I was worried he was afraid or something, and I asked him if he was okay. This man looks at me with the biggest smile on his face and says in the most adorable, quietest little voice as to not scare the squirrel on his shoulder away, "This is the single best day of my life." Squirrels of all things, Lamau. I asked a colleague from India what he found most interesting since moving to the States, and he said, the orderly traffic. He did a mind-blown motion and everything. Raccoons. Some of my coworkers are from Japan, and one was quizzing me about the very best way for his son to get to see a raccoon when they got there. Visit a restaurant dumpster just before dawn, tear open a box of kitten chow on the back patio. They like cat food. Yes, they'll like cat food, and if you actually do that, you will see 6 raccoons the following evening. I understand that Japan later developed an invasive raccoon problem, so not quite the novelty. 6 months later, my coworker asked, where do skunks live? In the woods. Exactly where in the woods? I think they dig burrows at the base of... Wait a minute. Are you gonna take your son skunk watching? When I went to Japan, all the rain gutters had aggressive crabs living in them. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. The wildlife. I don't think I've met a tourist who didn't have see a koala on their to-do list, but I probably wouldn't consider them mundane because I get super excited and really happy when I see a koala and I live here. Mundane would probably be kangaroos. Free public electric barbecues. In Australia, at many beaches and parks, there are free barbecues. They are nearly always clean and work very well. Everyone uses them and cleans them after they finish cooking. I married into a South African family. They are amused by how excited I am, an American, get about guava and passion fruit flavored everything when we visit them, and the cheap amazing wine. Confirming that they get very excited about squirrels and free refills when they visit here. Clean drinking water. We have no idea. Dated a girl in Morocco. She lost her crap on me when I attempted to quench my thirst with water from the tap. She was afraid you would lose your poop on her. I was amazed when we saw fireflies for the first time. Finally understood the reference in fairy tales and Disney movies. A Coca-Cola delivery truck was in the parking lot somewhere I was working. There was a couple from the UK that was very excited about it. They took selfies next to the truck and the driver let them sit in the driver's seat for more pictures. Seemed like a real treat for them. Red Solo party cups. Milk in bags. Though, to be fair, I've heard it's incredible to other Canadians too, depending on where they live. That's it for today's video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to turn on post notifications so you get notified every time this channel uploads. Thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Bye-bye.